first, right? Okay, now, we've got to broke it down into, I guess, if I got it right now. Facilities, so go to arena first. Questions?
Just with respect to rental revenue, any way we can boost that?
Something we work
$1 million
on,
question, isn't it?
something we work on every year in all our buildings. We've seemed to take 2 steps forward and 1 back every year. I do believe our rentals are up, but as noted, we are renting more to youth as opposed to adults, which is quite a significant difference in the rate structure.
Any idea what a chiller costs in installation?
I'm sorry?
Chiller.
Chiller? That's gonna be about $30,000.
Install?
Yes.
And that's pretty devastating if the chiller goes down. We're out of business in Clifford for, the chiller is not an off-the-shelf item to buy, right?
Correct.
I think it's important that everybody knows that.
Okay.
I think your point about the youth too, and part of this, the council has always said, we understand recreation facilities cannot be fully covered with user pay. I think probably run around the fact table that's discussed. And the advantage that I see with more youth being involved, they're more subsidized. By the same token, that's why we have the arenas as well. So I kind of think it's nice that youth are starting to use it more. That means we have a generation coming forward that's going to use it. So I like it going that way, even though it costs you money. And I'll understand what you're pointing out, because youth is a lot cheaper rates, right?
Correct.
But it's part of why we subsidize facilities. Is that right, Ron?
Yes, that's right. I guess I have a question. Clifford, how many rentals are actually governmental rentals?
I would say upwards of 50% for sure. It's outlined on the sheet, Councilor Elliott, or the other town rentals are noted.
Okay.
But they are up from last year, but as I said, we take a couple steps forward and take a couple steps back. The rentals that we lost that were adults were also from out of town, and that is the reason why we lost them. Is they were able to get ice for their hometown arena.
I see some of the kids are using it for shinning and such, like too, you have a shinning rinks and stuff, and ice is available.
It's a program that is assisted, helped by the CRA, helps subsidize some of these groups. So they're paying full rates if they were a minor hockey program.
Or then Shade Creek trying to cover that. So that you don't have any of that. So,
Correct.
Okay. No more questions on Clifford, let's move on. Harrison?
You make a comment here about Saturday ice times are a concern. Any idea why that was? Because when I was a kid, that's when the arena was hopping. It was all day Saturday. It started at 7 in the morning and went till I don't know how late. And I've been by the arena and some Saturdays there's nothing there. I don't know if there's staff there. There's certainly nothing else going on.
If there's nobody there, there's no staff.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Where we run into some difficulties on our Saturdays is there's so many tournaments. And for people that would be interested in using a Saturday ice time, they want something that's going to be consistent. And when we've got so many minor hockey tournaments, brewball tournaments, there's probably a half dozen Saturdays throughout the course of the year that we don't have that, anywhere from 8 to 15-hour booking. And it's difficult to get some groups in. We have some men's leagues that are interested in coming out a dozen times a year, for example. But for the Saturdays we do have going, they do quite well. But for the Saturdays where we don't have those bigger events, we suffer.
How, and I'm just learning this whole thing again, because I got grandkids coming in. Counselor Elliott probably has a better handle on this, because he's been going through it a little bit sooner than me.
He weighs a lot older than you though.
Well, that's right. But anyways, I think probably part of the problem is like Saturdays, if they're not, like when we were at minor hockey, we didn't go to all these tournaments, they go to the day. Like we played, house league was Saturday morning and then you played
Right.
or whatever, but now they probably are, if they're not in our rink, they're off at somebody else's on a Saturday doing a tournament somewhere or playing. That's probably why we don't see the Saturdays booked as regular Saturdays rather than just tournaments, because you're probably going to tournaments most weekends. Am I right, Ron? I don't know.
Yeah, there's hockey tournaments every weekend somewhere.
So, yeah, so how many each group goes to, but I think probably 2 or 3, every one of our teams go to probably 2 or 3 tournaments. Yeah, you maybe know more than me, but I just.
Well, our minor hockey association rents a lot of Saturdays,
Yeah.
but it's in Palmerston.
Okay,
Now, if Palmerston has a tournament,
then it goes to
it
Harrison.
goes to Harrison. There's situations where they go to Clifton. You
Yeah.
know, they're flexible, helping the buildings that way. But as a rule of thumb, minor hockey uses ice time Saturdays in Palmerston and Sundays in Harrison. It's for Minto minor hockey.
So we have choices, and we really want to, we don't take one choice out of 3, and so that's why it's sort of that way, right?
Yeah. Anything else? Okay, go to Palmerston. Palmerston, sorry. Did I say Palmerston? Palmerston?
Twin Cities,
That's right.
depending on what side you're transferring.
When you talk about up in all 3 arenas, how snow removal is up, how do you look at that? Does Brian send you a bill?
Actually, Brian hasn't invoiced us yet. He did send a spreadsheet, and I hope you don't mind. I took the liberty of typing in the prices that would normally be assigned. Our rates, we did check, and they're identical as to what we pay if it was a subcontractor, so it's not as, you know, we're paying as if we normally would. We just had a bad winter.
Similar 2 years ago, though, when we had a contractor do all our snow, I don't remember, but how did it look then? The same?
Yeah.
All right. Any questions about Palmerston? Next is the ball diamond, Clifford, soccer. Questions? Mark, and Clifford? Harrison Baldwin. Harrison Parks. Thomas and Ball and Concord. Maybe soccer next year. Here again.
I think so.
Thomas and Parks. Satellite facilities. I know we're in the satellite business, but that's good. Where are we going to Mars or what?
Yeah, the first one's on the Big there and back.
Yeah. Okay.
I have a question.
Oh, sorry.
Regarding the library.
Yes.
We have 2 groups in there paying rent, is that correct?
Yeah.
And what do they pay per month?
Well, they have 3,000 a year. So,
And It's an annual, okay.
Well, I think they do pay monthly, the border is very monthly, yeah.
The historical society.
And then the maintenance, I guess we pay to the county, or rent we pay to the county, there's no building maintenance. So is that covered in the rent we pay
Yes,
to the
it's a
county?
net, it's a net rent, right? So building maintenance is in there.
Do we have a breakdown of that as to what we pay rent per square foot? And
Yeah, it's,
And then they do similar to the Clifford medical.
yeah, I think it's $10 a square foot.
Yeah, so what they do is they bill us quarterly for rent, and then they take an estimate for some janitorial and things like that, and they bill that quarterly, and then they reconcile at the end of the year, either positive or negative.
So would you have an idea of what janitorial costs us? Just a ballpark?
I don't know, I'm trying to think if we got, I think we got a final billing at the end of 2012. Something I could say, right, we don't have anything.
No, but Gord, it's still only $10, like, it's not above the $10, the
I think
janitorial.
there's some, we go back to the agreement.
Yeah, that's what back the agreement, I thought it was all net, but I could
I
check that.
think there's an additional.
I think there is too,
There
because I think,
It's
think
very similar to the Clifford Medical Center, I think they took the same.
I think originally we were under the, we thought that the $10 per square foot included that.
Yeah, that's, you know.
But I think after it was all said and done, it was $10 a square foot plus the janitorial and maintenance. And it was more than we had thought we were going to pay.
Check that, I don't know
It's got my files for the last one. We know we haven't received anything
for this year.
quite well.
Well, what was our budget, actual last year? Of course, we couldn't tell because we weren't in there for a full year, right?
Yeah, we only got charged. July on, I think.
Yeah, I think they actually gave us a couple of months there that they didn't charge us. We were in earlier than that, but. Okay, so, yeah, that won't tell us. Okay.
I don't see it being a huge amount, but we'll look into it, and if it needs to be amended, we will do so.
Anything else?
Oh, right.
Overall, and this to do with all the meetings and our facilities in general, we have operate a boost in the 3 arenas. We don't operate any boosts in the ball fields or anything.
Correct.
The cost or the revenue, we get some revenue from that. Is there any way that we can increase revenue? I know there's been talk about contracting out and to
This for the arenas or the arenas?
Yeah. And there's also talk, I mean, we certainly employ
Students.
which is important. And I agree we should continue to do that. Is there any way we can up the revenue? I just wish we could.
I wish we could too, but I don't see that we can. You know, the sales have been consistent. Palmerston does a little bit more business than Harrison does. We've looked into renting them out. If we were to rent them out, we probably wouldn't make much more than what we are. And I do feel rather strongly about this situation about employing the youth. It gives some children an opportunity to.
I certainly do that. I just wanted to, we are open, I know we provide a service to, which we should in our community, and that's part of operating. We wouldn't operate if we weren't providing a service. And part of that service is opening up, knowing that we probably pay more wages than we do revenue coming in at certain events, and then certain events we certainly get a lot of money. But I guess that's where we're losing the money, is providing that service for on my hockey, and you might have 20 parents out, and no kids buying anything, you can't get home.
Well, that's correct, and in all fairness, it would be a lot easier on us not to look after them, but then we've got, you know.
We stay open for a bigger
we've
scale
got
practice.
yeah, then we've got 8 to 10 kids that we're taking jobs away from.
That's right. And I just want to, I think it's a general concern, or not a concern, a thought of the community is we have all these booths, we all seem to make a lot of money on it. So I think I'm probably doing that more for your benefit, to to find whether there's any ways we can make money, and obviously, I think we've looked at that. We can't increase in product or anything like that, but we can sell or that would help us.
I don't see that assisting in making more money.
Ron, if, you know, if you feel it's a concern of the community, maybe it's something that practically look at and do a comparable, much the same as you with the grass cutting. I think the perception can be part of the problem, and when you
That's what I
put,
believe.
yeah, and if you put things down and you weigh out the fact that it's, you know, it's this to that, and would that be something Brack would take on and come back to council and, because that's something that from a budget item, I don't think it's gonna be a big square one way or the other.
No.
But, maybe do the pros and cons on it, and come back and report to council from Brack.
This is the kind of things that I think the public should find out about.
Well, and I think that way, if you guys have a report, it'll come in front of us, and then we'll have an idea to discuss it. Okay? So I would suggest that, if that's all right, you wanna take that?
That's great.
Okay. All right. I guess that's it for you.
Thank you. Good job.
What we got? Oh, Matt, recreation.
No, you're not seeing those.
Is,
You did call each other. No, shirt's a little darker.
yeah, you're matching shirts today, that's the budget.
of his hair is.
Sort of like, is that like, sort of like the budget guy does the new shoes, you got the matching shirts, it's all works.
Matt, is that a November thing, or are you trying to do like Jerry?
Maybe a bit of both.
Mike, is that Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might not be very loud, but I'll speak up.
All right, the first item is administration overall.
Just a refresh my memory, why 2012 was down. Okay, forget the question.
A lot of it had to do
Tell me next time.
with 2012 versus 2013, there was a change in allocation of wages.
Okay.
So if you take a look at Al's facilities plus our admin, well, programs or recreation, it's all sort of lumped together. He'll speak to some like he just did, and then I'll speak to the rest. So,
Perfect, thank you.
yes, that's correct too.
Councilor Paul.
Yes. Just, I see the van expenses transfer. Have we looked into, perhaps upgrading that vehicle? Because I've experienced that.
We've
Driving to a
experienced you driving.
Yeah, exactly.
How many years ago was that?
That was 2 years ago?
3 years ago.
3 years ago. 3 years ago.
2010 during the storm going to London.
Yeah, that's right.
Scared the bejeebers out.
Not the driving, the weather.
Maybe that was it.
But because the wipers didn't work,
Heater wasn't working.
yeah, there was a pile of stuff. But anyways, I'm just looking at the year of the vehicle and so on and so forth.
That'll be something I need to look into, probably not for 2014, but maybe forward.
Because we've done put public works vehicles on a schedule and is there any reason why that one shouldn't go on a schedule as well?
We'll see if we can get one more year out of it.
Okay.
Next is, here's the pool, right? Oh, sorry, the Oregon Theater, I skipped an Oregon Theater, my goodness, didn't know that happened. There we go, Oregon Theater.
Just wanted to point out, we opened with the Hunger Games Catching Fire on National Release this past weekend. So that this past weekend alone increased the average per show, which was at 50 to 52. So the average was about 130 per show, but that's because with the buses being delayed on Friday or actually being canceled, no school, we didn't have a normal rental, so we did with 3 hours notice, we did a 2 p.m. matinee, we had 67 people show up.
Social media.
That's the power of Facebook.
Or things.
Twitter and,
What do you do?
Yeah, it was, our email blast, but mostly the Facebook. A lot of people texted each other and all that, and yeah, 67 people showed up, and it was great. Yeah.
I wanna comment how proud I am of the Martin Theater Board and Matt's leadership and Grace's, Grace Blacko is one wonderful staff. We're fortunate to have. She's kind of a hidden gem amongst our staff. She does, her and Matt tag team, and she does a wonderful job for us, and the things and the events that are going on are just, and the service she's providing for our community is something else. Like, there's always something happening at Martin Theater, whether we make money sometimes, that's fine, but there's always something happening, and we've got a big show happening. As a matter of fact, I'll bring that forward again on the 28th, and it's sold out, so anybody wants tickets, no, everybody wants to volunteer to help us.
I have 3 tickets, scalping.
We're gonna stand in front of the So, I guess, and they're making, that's gonna make some more money that we want to pay down our debt, and I believe we're around, we started around 177,000, Gordon, something like that.
And we are projected, if things go well to finish the year off, we'll be somewhere around 55 to 56,000 left on that 177, so.
That's awesome.
Phenomenal.
That's great direction.
And we still have trouble once in a while getting volunteers, but then boom, it's just like everything else, they jump forward and we get a group that comes forward, so it's continuing on. It's been very good, successful. So we're going on our community and we should be proud of that. It's not.
Good. There's cool. There's cool.
Just
That's right.
a question, Matt, and you probably don't know the answer. Is there a reason for the registrations for swimming lessons being down as much as they were?
But that's something that ever since we started doing these service measure sheets, it's, even in Palmerton, they seem to fluctuate from year to year. Now, one of the things I do know is that some people will wait until the last minute to sign up, and that they'll take weather into consideration. I know this past summer it wasn't the hottest that we've had, a lot of rainy days, and we sort of felt that across all revenues at both pools. They seem to both be down. So I'm not quite sure if that has something to do with it or not. Not necessarily with swimming lessons, but with the swim passes we sell versus the people who will just pay $3 to come in. Even with that, sometimes you'll see if you get a hot June and the pool is just open for the year, you'll sell a lot of passes right away. And other times, if it's lousy weather, you may not sell a season pass. So it's interesting. Ever since we've implemented the service sheets and keeping close track of that, it's interesting. We've also seen people shift to private swimming lessons as opposed to doing the group sessions. Now that all goes to the same revenue account, but the private lessons obviously generate more money. So
Private lessons in our pools or going elsewhere for private lessons?
no, we offer the parents the opportunity to put their kids in private lessons at our pools, so one-on-one, as opposed to in a group setting. So you may find that parents one year paid for a private lesson, and then the next year they put them into like a group session, so there's a little bit of a decrease in revenue there. That still doesn't explain why the registrations are down the whole, but it's hard to explain the fluctuation. I do believe weather has something to do with it, but I'm not quite sure what other factors might be at play.
Palmerston Pool?
I would
Go ahead.
promise to
Oh, okay.
give me a chance to review.
Oh, is that what you're? Well, we
Two
should have.
different reasons.
Okay, all right.
I do.
Okay.
Well, fine.
We might have to go on this. I don't know, we might all have to take one of those breaks. Okay,
I guess I have a question. This splash pad's been a real heavy kind of. And I see we budgeted 5,000 again this year. What did it cost to install that?
Well, we
get a grant for that.
We did get a grant for 75,000 through the Trillium Foundation, and we did split the cost.
I think it was,
That was
it was a lot. Trillium paid for about half.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was actually very expensive to run out.
I mean, it's a great spot for the new one, but I think we need it, but it just seems to be always a problem. Do we have somebody that actually understands how it works, or are we guessing most of the time, or?
Well, we have had these discussions at PrAC at length. I think probably almost every meeting we talk about it, and I think now, I know I think he had to leave, but he's put a plan in place. We've got a local plumber who has said he'll kind of be our go-to guy for that. The thing was that since installation in 2007, 2008, a couple of the people, one of the companies has that they're no longer in the splash pads. The gentleman that did some of the plumbing, some of the stuff, he doesn't have an answer for us. So, I mean, we're hoping that our local guy can take this on. It is going to be an added expense. There's a few things we want to try that we haven't done in terms of trying to prevent things from getting clogged and whatnot. So we're hoping that with a little bit of money spent in 2014 that we'll be able to lower that amount moving forward and sort of get a better handle on how this thing runs. Because I mean, we've had issues with the actuators and just even the whole electrical system as well. So we're hoping that we can spend a bit of money next year and get things back on track moving forward.
Anything else? The venture can't go back in. Unless you, are you going to venture camp this year?
I have no one there, I don't think.
No one there.
Just want to point out, we experienced a record high in registration this year.
Wow.
In both Harrison and Palmerston, I don't think we've ever achieved revenues like we did this year. I think that has a lot to say about the staff we have in place. We've got some great summer students in place, and we're trying to provide a low cost and fun atmosphere for and a safe and reliable program for both the children and the parents that send them there.
So that staff coming back this summer.
We'll know more about that in February when we post the jobs.
Well done.
Are we getting a few people in Clifford now? There's a few more people in Clifford last year. Did anybody come out?
No, we haven't, unfortunately, we haven't really run anything in Clifford.
No, but I'm just wondering if they come to these programs.
Oh, yeah, we get some that will drive down. Even when we had the programs in Clifford, some parents would drive their kids down to Harrison just because we would take them swimming at the pool every day.
Yeah.
And we do get a lot from Mount Forest. We do pick up some from, North Perth and some from Mapleton, from the Palmerston campus because we're sort of surrounded by those municipalities there.
Anything else for that? Then we got special programs. Moneymaker.
That includes a mixture of seniors programs.
Yeah. Health and safety is your daily record call. We're already good there. That's it.
Thank you.
Excellent. Building. What time do you have to go again, Rick?
5, I believe.
Okay, can we take a bit of a break right now?
Yeah.
Okay. now that Ron's had a break, I'm gonna take a 5-minute break here. I was listening and I drank all that water.